you little...
What? How? He said we had to get back to work, and then he's already playing with the dog. Hello, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition. So we are at the camp. We did talk to Lena. Let's see. Let's talk to Alistair next.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar? Tell me about the Grey Wardens. So how did you become a Grey Warden? So you said this Earl Emmon raised you. Yeah.
Did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That's not what I remember you telling Flemeth. That would explain the smell. I thought you were raised by the Chantry. Really? That must have been tough for them.
Well, they were flying dogs, you see. Surprisingly strict parents, too. And devout Andrastians to boot.
Ah, and these dogs sold you to the Chantry, I take it? That is what they say about the Andres. Uh-huh. Raised by flying devout dogs. I see. They sold you to the Chantry, I take it.
Oh, there you go, listening to me again. You'd think you'd have gotten past that already. I ended up in the Chantry, sure, but I didn't start there. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Why did he send you off to the Chantry? He wasn't your father, so you know who is? But you blame him then? I blamed him then, I take it? So you know who your father is?
I know who I was told was my father. He died even before my mother did, anyhow. It isn't important. Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10. Just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
You were probably luckier than most orphans. Wasn't it inappropriate for Arl to raise an orphan? What an awful thing to do to a child. That sounds like a bunch of whining. Yeah, I guess you were luckier than most orphans.
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Arl's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
And you think the Arl will help us? Are you sure he isn't your father? You were young. Are you sure he's not your father?
Yes, I'm quite sure. At any rate, I don't look anything like him. You'll see for yourself. Not that it stopped the rumors any. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Okay, let's get some more information from
What do you need? Ask away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
I suppose I could, but I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
Very well, I respect your word. You don't think this is important, and what if I order you to do it? I'll respect
Ask
your
me
word.
later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
Well, I also don't really care to
What do you
become
need?
a Templar, so let's ask
Ask
him
away.
about the Grey Wardens. Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here? Is there a headquarters somewhere? So what happened now that there's just two of us? Will we need to start rebuilding the order? What will happen if we just left? We'll start with where's the nearest Grey Warden?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here, but I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
So what happens now that there's just two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
Will we need to start rebuilding the order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
What would happen if we just left?
Just left? You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
I didn't suggest we do, but...
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
I'd like to ask you
away.
something. So how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't
Fair
forgotten
enough.
already, have you?
I mean, before that, haha, very funny. If you don't want to answer, then say so. Don't be an idiot. Haha, very funny.
I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
You don't seem like the religious sort. So you mentioned before. What skills might those be? You don't seem like the religious
You're telling
sort.
me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
You think Duncan took pity on you? You think this is better than being a Templar? Why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you? Yeah, why?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have...
I shouldn't have brought him up. I'm sorry. Don't start crying again, please. He was a good man. Yeah, we'll go with he was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Cool, let's talk again,
What do you need?
though, because there was, like, one more thing I could
Ask away.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
I thought Templar wore heavy plate mostly. In that case, you should have become a mage. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it. Not this again. Can't you answer a simple question? Yeah, can't you?
I used to be able to, but then the Chantry beat it out of me. Sad but true. I can't hardly get through a pillow fight these days without being overcome with guilt either.
Are you going to answer or not? You said it. You had lots of pillow fights, I take it. So this is where you deflect questions with humor, right? Do all Templars make these jokes or just you? Deflect with humor.
I'd use my shield if I could, but I think you might actually spot me hiding behind it. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I do really want to know, yes. Then make up something more exciting. You don't have to tell me then. I was just curious. Not if it's going to lead to more of your stupid jokes. No. I want to know more.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right?
No, it's
The
not.
truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about the training? Enjoyed hunting mages, did you? I think I understand. I enjoyed hunting mages.
No, I never got that far. I mostly
so
learned
he
about
keeps
discipline
saying.
and training my mind to use the abilities that Templars have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
Not anymore, no. The Circle of Magi's Tower was my home for a long time. I guess my home is with the Grey Wardens now, with you. Home is whatever camp is. We're travelers now. I guess it's the Grey Wardens
It
now.
is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
That's assuming we even survive. They can be rebuilt. You can always keep traveling. This is not the time to think about it. You can always keep traveling.
Maybe. Could you? I don't know what I'd find out there that would be any different. I guess it would depend on where I was going. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
So you say. I'm gonna go talk to the dog.
Oh, why, you little...
What? How? He said we had to get back to work, and then he's already playing with the dog. What? Did you just jump at the sight of your own shadow again? Are you harassing my dog? Yeah. Are you harassing my
Me?
dog?
Harassing your dog?
Yes.
I should say it's the other way round.
No.
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
That's hardly any blood drawn. Still, he shouldn't have. It was just a warning. He could have taken off a hand off. Good boy. Teach that silly Alistair a lesson. Bad dog. That's not very nice. Well, he is a war dog. Teach that silly Alistair a lesson.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
It's cute.
I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh.
Why is he doing this to the
Oh,
dog?
like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Stop messing with my dog, Alistair. Don't listen to Alistair. He's full of rubbish. If you've had it and didn't know it, it probably was tasty. I've never fed you another human being. Don't listen to Alistair.
Hey!
My dog alone, Alistair. Can I talk to Taffy?
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
It's the thought that counts. He means well. Can't be stinkier than what normally goes into them. I think he thinks you need more meat on your bones. Why doesn't he share his food with me? I think he thinks you need more meat on your bones.
I think I have enough meat where it counts, and I certainly don't need it in my pack. The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
Don't do it again. You're a war dog, not a nursemaid. You heard the lady. It was a gift. You can't just throw it away like that. You're a war dog, not a nursemaid. Oh, I didn't mean to offend him. It's okay, Daffy. Yeah, who is this guy? We barely know him. And he's growling back at the dog, so... Fun time. What is all the racket? Watch Steen and Daffy back away slowly. What is all the racket?
I seek to understand the dog. We fight alongside each other, and I must discover the strength of his heart.
Carry on then? Do you know what he's talking about, Daffy? Well, could you keep it down at least? Carry on then.
You are a true warrior, and worthy of respect.
What else can we do? Okay, he's digging, trying to find a way through the earth, are we? Stop that, you're making a mess. Bad dog, ignore Daffy. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? Might dig up some darkspawn, you might want to be careful. It's going to take some time, you know. Oh, don't be silly, you'll just mess up the campsite. Alright, have fun then. It's gonna take a while, you know. Well, good luck with that then. He seems to be having fun. Let's see. Where is Morrigan? Is she all the way over here? By her lonesome? We'll talk to Steen
I
last.
await your command.
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
Always. Can you teach others to become shapeshifters? Did you grow up in the Ankari wilds? Have you been hunted by the Chantry? Is Flemeth really what she seems to be? I think we asked about the shapeshifting, but let's see if it's different.
If I had the desire to. I do not.
Perhaps you had better find the desire then. I should have known you'd be a selfish bitch. And why not, as you wish. And why not?
I was told to accompany you and to help you, and that I shall. This may extend to the teaching of my mother's skills in time. For now, I simply do not know you well enough. I promise nothing.
Okay.
I await your command.
Want to ask you something?
So, full of questions, are you?
Hikari
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You could if you want to. I'm curious. What's wrong with that? Fine, I'll leave you be. It's my favorite way of annoying you. You could if you wanted to.
Oh, what luck. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
You remained unnoticed, but you kept going back to the wilds. I have a hard time picturing that. You kept going back to the wilds.
Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
You must have looked quite the fool. Very daring. That sounds like you. I can just imagine. Were you hurt? Yeah, were you hurt?
Was I hurt? What manner of simpering weakling do you take me for? Only
Just
once was I
asking.
accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped, and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally he was arrested.
That was quick thinking. What happened to the poor man? I'm surprised. I'm supposed to be surprised. You're a good liar. It was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
I have no idea. I'm not human. Touching, like a handshake. Were you upset by all the bad touching? I have no idea.
Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Yet here you are. You can go back if you like. I guess the joke's on you then. Well, I'm glad it worked out this way at least. Yet here you are.
Yes, here I am. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Perhaps.
I
Let's
await
talk some
your
more.
command.
I'd like to ask you something.
Full of questions, are you?
Have you been hunted by the Chantry?
My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
Fun? You found it fun? You really had no trouble with them? I feel sorry for the Templars. Fun?
I found the game fun. I was too young to understand the truth behind what was happening. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait, a little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Flemeth used you as bait? Did you actually kill them all? Surely more would have followed. Did you kill them all?
Me? No, I never did any of the killing until later. And even then, Flemeth was a glutton for that sort of thing. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
Maleficarum. Yeah, I butcher that word every time. Don't you regret hurting any of those men at all? What exactly is an apostate? They basically thought you were dangerous, with good reason. Do you still think that was fun? Why? They got what they deserved. Yeah, they got what they deserved.
Perhaps they did. Still, I do not begrudge them doing what they believe is necessary. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates, and apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true, still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
Meaning what? Will fight you to the end? Have you no responsibility to those around you? The circle is not quite what you picture. I completely agree. If you say so. No, I agree.
An interesting answer for a mage. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
The circle of magi does seem really
I await
annoying.
your command.
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
An old woman, a powerful a nutty old bat. Human? Yeah, let's go with human.
Oh, she certainly was human. Once. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. I've heard a little bit of it. I'm more interested in the truth. Spare me the bedtime stories. I'm more interested in the truth.
I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting. All right, but make it quick. And the point would be no thanks. That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Just how long is this? Yes, I've heard this part. Not true then?
No, quite true, but this part only. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar.
Ooh.
Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife.
Ooh.
And Osen agreed.
He sold his wife to another man? Flemeth must have been angry. Seems like a fair deal. Nah, she must have been angry.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
She spoke to the spirits or demons? But wasn't she now married to a wealthier man? So she truly loved Osen then? Demons or spirits?
Spirits first, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. Flemeth did not turn to the demon until much later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Of course, Flemeth would say that. Which, she never invaded, or he never defeated her. Even my people have heard of Cormac. Which?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Do you believe her version? How is that Flemeth has survived so long? The legends tell of Flemeth having many daughters. Aren't abominations usually insane horrors? An interesting story, thank you. That's all hogwash. Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
How has Flemeth survived
The
so
demon
long?
within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
The legend tells that she had many
You ask if I
daughters.
have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Heart abominations and insane horrors?
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her.
An interesting story, thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
There's nothing really to say about her. I love her. What else do you want to know? Keep your curiosity to yourself. I guess my character loves her?
Nothing. I wish to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on. I await your command.
Let's see if she has anything else.
So, full of questions, are you?
Are you really Flemeth's daughter?
I assume you were actually asking whether
I think
Flemeth
we asked
herself
this one
gave
before.
birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. 'Tis not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child.
She was not always as old as she is now, was she? Could she have stolen you as a child? Can an abomination even reproduce? Could she have stolen you?
It seems likely, does it not? In an animal form, a babe could easily be spirited away and raised as Flemeth's own. I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another, and Flemeth has always treated me as her blood.
She doesn't seem very motherly. Does that mean you love her? What if you have a real family out there? A cozy family of abominations and apostates. Sounds lovely. Does that mean you love her?
What an odd thing to say. Why must love enter into the equation? Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser.
I suppose that's true. Is there no place for nurturing and love? Now I see where you get it from. Is there no place?
Room for coddling and weakness? Why should such things be desirable? To indulge in love is to indulge in delusion. Surely a Grey Warden such as yourself does not believe otherwise.
I do, in fact, believe otherwise. No, you're quite right. That sounds very cynical. I'm not sure what I believe.
An honest answer, if a somewhat vapid one. You shall learn in time, if fortune smiles on you.
Yes, if indeed. Okay, so I think that just leaves you to talk to, and then we can take whatever quests we have over here.
Why are we stopping?
Never mind, let's keep moving. I think we should talk for a moment. We're working together. I think I should go and get to know you. Let's get a few things straight. We should talk for a moment.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I need to know if I can trust you at my back. Are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks. What's your hurry? I need to know if I can trust
I am
you.
Kunari. I have given my word to aid you. We are not people of idle promises.
I've never seen a Kunari before. Tell me about your people. You said you were in the army. Tell me about your people.
No.
Okay. No, why not? Please? I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't
Get
expecting
used to disappointment. People are not simple. They cannot be
enough.
summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Whoa. You said you were in the army. Are you alright? You were in the cage for weeks. A little hostile, aren't we?
Many humans have said that to me. I do not understand it. If I were indeed hostile, you would be bleeding.
You said you were in the army. Da-da-da. So, is this being calm and helpful?
Couldn't you tell?
Yes, definitely. You know what? Just follow orders and you'll do fine.
As you wish.
I feel like we're gonna get nowhere fast with them. What are you guys doing here?
It's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Feddick, at your service once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Sure. You're free to stay, just mind to yourselves. Let me see your wares. Have you been following us? What exactly are you selling? Let me see your wares.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Sure, maybe, hopefully, possibly. Let's see, what can we sell? Anything? Yeah, we can sell these. Can't use these. Can't use these. Not use these. I'm saving this, for, what's his name? Alistair. I don't know if that shield's worth it. I think probably not. Oh, a little expensive, are we? 2 dexterity, 10% chance of dodging, 6 defense, and reduces hostility. A collar. Yes, I will buy that. We'll give that to our Marbury. Free gifts, why not? Because it's going to take up all of our inventory space. Oh well. We can buy gifts too. Well, let's take all the free ones and hand them out. Sure that can only help us, right? And then the ones we have to buy, we'll think about. Let's buy the backpack space. Okay.
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What enchantments does he do? I want some enchanting done. I'd like to see what other goods you have. Farewell. What enchantments does
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
I want some enchanting done. Sure.
Enchantment!
Okay. Electricity, fire, or electricity. We'll do fire, maybe? Can we not? We have no items to enchant. Well, we cannot yet, but eventually, maybe. Someday.
You're a hard woman to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy, Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins, Levy the trader.
I'm Katie J, and no, I've never heard of you. Duncan never mentioned you. You know Duncan.
Oh, yes, for years. Considered him a friend, I did. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled.
Uh-huh. What promise did he make you? How did you know Duncan? I have pressing matters to attend. Farewell. How did you know him?
It's a bit of a tale, that is. But I'm the one who brought the Grey Wardens back to Ferelden. Well, I was one of the ones. There were a lot of us. Maker's breath, I'm a bit nervous. Honoured to be here, really.
Go ahead and tell your tale. What promise did he make you? Now tell us your tale.
After King Marek freed us from the Orlesians, the Grey Wardens begged the King's permission to come into Ferelden, some sort of internal business. Me and a mess of other Warden sympathisers spoke on behalf of your order. Tan Loghain was very much against letting Orlesian Wardens in the kingdom. But Marek, Andraste, bless him, was a fair-minded monarch and he let them in.
Go on, I'm listening.
So that's why I was there when the Wardens and their leader, Genevieve, presented herself to the King. The first Wardens in Ferelden in over a century. Proudest day of my life, that was. Duncan was a bit of a scamp back then. We were of an age and struck up a friendship. The King himself went with the Wardens on their mysterious business. When he returned, he rescinded King Ardlan's decree, and the Wardens came back to Ferelden for good.
I thank you for your part in bringing the Wardens here. Duncan was an easy man to like. Why were the Grey Wardens cast out by Arlen? Marek resented the decree just like that. What promise did he make you? Why were they cast out?
People say it's because the Wardens have become terribly unpopular. Just soaking up tires and not doing a bleeding thing for the kingdom. I say that's bollocks, as recent events have shown.
Just resented his degree?
Marek was a bit of a visionary. A powerful mind, that one. In his travels with the Wardens, he must have seen how important their cause was, and been moved by it.
I doubt that's the full story. Duncan was an easy man to like.
That he was.
I thank you for bringing the Wardens
all
here.
aflutter. You're welcome.
What promise did he
My
make
family, well, past a bit checkered to see. Nobles look at us with disdain. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arlen banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles.
Just tell me what I need to do. What happened next? That's a bit drastic, isn't it? Yeah.
And then some. Not much is known about that time. After King Arlen died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride.
I'm surprised you kept your name. So what favor did you ask of Duncan?
I asked for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honour.
Couldn't you just go there by yourself? I've never heard of the Soldier's Peak. Nope.
Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Arlen's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak, and I found the way a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did, and I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honour.
What do you need me for? Or what do you need from me? Why didn't Duncan help you? How will reclaiming the peak help the Wardens? I'll have to think about this for a while. Why didn't he help you?
Darkspawn surfaced in southern Ferelden, and Duncan got plenty busy recruiting new Wardens and meeting with good King Cailan. Duncan said he would help after the Battle of Ostagar. Said there might be useful things at the peak, but he never had the chance.
Your family faith will be rewarded. I will help you. Sure.
1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Fair enough, I guess. Should we try to talk to her?
Yes?
I'd like to talk to you.
Well, here I am.
It was like as a chantry cloister.
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so? Yes, they tend to be self-righteous. That's why I'm not particularly fond of them.
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I prefer, I don't really want to, the Maker looking at me, looking in on me anyway. What did you say to them? I prefer your idea to the idea of the chantry, but you must earn the Maker's blessing. I prefer your idea.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Okay, I'm gonna end this episode off here. Sorry for my phone hitting against the table. Hopefully that wasn't too noisy. We are going to start the next episode going off to do the missions that we have left in Lothering. We have 2 missions left, and then we'll carry on, and I guess we'll head to the Earl Ammon? I don't know. We'll see. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.